What you're seeing on this slide is the release of methane from one of several hundred plumes that were discovered when explorations went up there in 2007. Now watch the methane. We're not getting sound from this slide, unfortunately.
For the last 2 or 3 years, there's been a joint Russian-Alaskan expedition going out into the Siberian Sea and observing this, and they've been seeing great plumes of methane bubbling up all over the Siberian Sea. The whole zone of millions of square miles of territory is now releasing all of its methane cover.
So the methane in the atmosphere, the total amount of methane in the atmosphere, in the current atmosphere, it's about 5 gigatons. The amount of carbon preserved in form of methane in this subarctic shelf is approximately from hundreds to thousands of gigatons. And of course, it's only 1% of that amount is required to double the atmospheric burden of methane. But to destabilize 1% of this carbon pool, I think it's not much effort needed, considering that the state of permafrost and the amount of methane currently involved.
Do you think civilization could survive a 50 gigaton release of methane?
No, I don't think it can. I think that if you look at the existing predictions of global warming rates, what's kind of eerie is the fact that the business as usual projections, even the cautious ones produced by IPCC, are still giving us about 4 degrees of warming by the end of the century, and with 2 degrees has been taken arbitrarily as the level beyond which nasty things happen. I don't know why it's 2 degrees, but that will be reached by the middle of the century, and 4 degrees by the end of the century. Now, 4 degrees, people who've calculated what that would do to food production, to die-off of forests, to acceleration of warming due to various extra feedbacks that kick in, that the general conclusion is pretty dire, that if you get to 4 degrees of warming, then collapse of civilization is what's going to happen, because the world won't be able to sustain anywhere near its present population. So the result will be chaos and warfare. So that's just that. The eerie thing is that that's predicted by the IPCC report, but the projection of warming by the end of the century is 4 degrees. But nowhere do they state at all that 4 degrees is a catastrophe for economically and socially for the planet. And now with this Arctic methane, you're simply adding another element to the warming, even if it's only an extra 0.6. That brings forward the date at which catastrophic warming is achieved by maybe 20 years.
This is from one of the world's foremost authorities on the Arctic sea ice, Dr. Wadhams from Cambridge University. Now, here you see 2 polar views of our planet. On the left, the methane detected November of 2008, and on the right, November 2012. This is the millions of square miles of territory now releasing its methane cover. And I'll call your attention to the scientists who collaborated on this report, an American, a Russian, and a Chinese scientist, and in particular to Dr. Ira Leifer. And I have a quote from Dr. Ira Leifer for you next in 3 parts. Some scientists are indicating we should make plans to adapt to a 4 degrees centigrade hotter world. While prudent, one wonders what portion of the population could adapt to such a world. My view is that it's just a few thousand people seeking refuge in the Arctic or Antarctica.